But this was also an era of a sea change in British society, where the prospect of affordable foreign travel opened our eyes to a world beyond Coronation Street and the Mersey beat. And it shook up what was expected from the TV theme tune. Less gramophone, more hi-fi. A sonic cocktail, shaken, not stirred, of international glamour, intrigue and exotica. Which first hit our screens with Patrick McGoohan's Danger Man. Appearing in 1960, 2 years before Sean Connery's James Bond graced the silver screen, John Drake was a proto-Bond, product of the Cold War. Appearing at a time when viewers found it easy to believe that espionage was a force for good, keeping us safe from whatever evil empires lay behind the Iron Curtain. And the music that ushered him on screen was no less suave and sophisticated, and written by a master of the TV theme tune. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Edwin Astley. Danger Man's jazz-inspired theme, its harpsichord and boppy rhythm, was a total breakthrough, bringing the epic orchestration of blockbuster movies to the gas-fired British living room.
I was at the Danger Man recording, and I just remember the production people all looking at each other and going, wow, this is so exciting, you know. They all knew they had something that was a bit different, yeah.
It's a hook, isn't it? It's an earworm.
Absolutely.
So you hear it,
yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah.
The actual tune, it's sort of a caper rather than heavy-duty we're all going to die spy stuff, isn't it?
And Pat McGowan was very serious all the way through, though, wasn't he? So it didn't really reflect the character that much.
Tell me about that little turn. Tell us, what are the notes doing there? If you want to learn to play this at home, this is how you do it.
So it's a key change, but it's a very clever one.
Yes. You don't expect that's jazz, isn't it?
It is jazz.
Throughout the 60s, Astley's theme tunes, rooted in his expertise as a big band arranger, were the signifier of a new class of British television. Lush, full-bodied, and with the advent of colour TV, totally technicolor. They could also be incredibly playful. That sonic halo of just 7 notes from which he built his classic theme for Roger Moore in The Saint is pure TV gold, ingenious and unforgettable.
He was very excited about The Saint because he blended a girl's voice with a flute with something else, all in unison. And of course, I don't think anybody had done that before. It's a very, very straightforward theme, but because it's just those few notes, everybody knows it.
Yeah. But there's one further 60s theme tune that, for me, sums up the ambition and sheer scale of what the TV theme had then become. Towards the end of the decade, Patrick McGoohan cast off his Danger Man guise and created one of the most bizarre TV series ever seen, set here in the fantasy Welsh village of Portmeirion. Its name, The Prisoner. Its theme, a tour de force by Australian composer Ron Grainer. Its genius, The way in which its dramatic shifting moods manage to tell the entire backstory of the show's protagonist. No words, only music. But what music! This is a long sequence, and Grainer does the classic teaser whereby he takes elements of what's going to be the theme and drops them in right from the start. So the first thing we hear is the biggest hook of all. That ba-ba-bum. That's going to come in and grow to something later. He puts a really strong rhythmic bed underneath it. So the hook is what we've already heard. The bed is ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba with lots of drums, lots of percussion. The whole thing owes a huge debt to John Barry, I have to say. Because we're following a story, we see McGowan going and basically resigning from his job. The big percussive cracks of sound are timed with his footsteps. And it starts with the thunderclap, so immediately we're getting this idea of punchiness. With his bangs on the desk, McGowan's name comes up, the title of the program comes up. We establish the theme, which immediately changes as soon as the gas hits. And when he wakes up again, we get that same hook, now on a kind of 60s farfisa organ. And what the music's done is join together his life in intrigue, espionage, and where he is now, so that as soon as we see the village, it's full of threat. And that gives us the entire feel for the show. We've got a slightly 60s, slightly kind of psychedelic world, but it's one in which there is punchy, danger, threat underneath it throughout. A really great theme, without any doubt. To me, Ron Grainer is one of the more unsung heroes of the TV theme world. He could turn his hand to absolutely any genre. He broke through in the early 60s with the Maigret theme, which I had as sheet music, and I learnt it when I was 12 years old. Then there's Steptoe and Son, another great theme, this time for a sitcom. Then the 1970s, Tales of the Unexpected, with its kind of weird barrel organ feel. But in the annals of TV music history, Ron Grainer's greatest legacy is something he very nearly didn't write at all. In 1962, the BBC needed an otherworldly sound for a primetime science fiction programme. This French ensemble, Structure Sonore, was lined up to give it an avant-garde sound unlike any TV theme before. But when talks fell through, the job fell to pioneers of the BBC's very own homespun avant-garde ensemble, Delia Derbyshire and Dick Mills of the Radiophonic Workshop.
The first stage in the realization of a piece of music is to construct the individual sounds that we're going to use. To do this, we can, if we like, go to these sound generators here, electronic generators, and using all of these, we can build up any sound we can possibly imagine almost.
Ron Grainer came along with a A4 manuscript and left it to Delia to visualise the instrumentation and put it together with a bit of physical help from myself. And then Ron came back and we played it to him and he said, did I write that? So I think Delia said very nearly, but, you know, a compliment nevertheless.
In the modern age, it's perhaps hard to imagine how groundbreaking Delia and Dick's sounds were.
All we have to do is cut the notes the right length. We can join them together on a loop and listen to them.
Created in an almost Heath Robinson fashion, with just 3 tape machines, primitive sound generators, and a whole lot of experimentation. Amazingly, almost 60 years on, Dick Mills still has those original recordings, and he showed me how the tracks were layered, only this time with more modern technology.
Each line of the music would have been made and assembled on each different tape machine. So first of all, bass. Delia created a bass from a single strand of steel. So she twanged the microphone, then manipulated that into the bass notes. Then second tape machine that plays Ron's tune. They're going to show clouds or something visually, so why don't we have the third machine carrying bits and pieces and twiddly bits and decorations? And once you put it all together,
It's the sound that caused a generation to hide behind the sofa, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. It certainly brought them in from the kitchen, which was the required thing. Yeah.
It is brilliant, Dick. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it's unique.
Now one of the longest-running series on British television, the character of the Doctor has regenerated over the decades. And so has his theme, evolving with tastes and technology. But with one of the most dedicated fan bases on British television, I'm not sure I would relish tinkering with such a classic.